This park is absolutely gorgeous, but to really understand the full history of it, we have to go back 250 million years ago. Can you walk us through the history of this amazing mountain range?
So Guadalupe Mountains National Park encompasses one of the finest and largest examples of a fossilized marine reef in the world. This reef more specifically defined by sponges and algae, as opposed to corals, which I get back in my home of South Florida, for example, or in Australia today. The park itself highlights one of the best exposures of Permian period fossils in the world. In fact, if you look at a geologic timescale of the Earth, the middle Permian period is called the Guadalupean epoch, making us one of the only national parks to have a portion of the geologic timescale named after it. The way these mountains formed, however, is a three-part process. I like to call it the dew process: deposition, uplift, and erosion. So around 270 million years ago, the continents were still pushed together, surrounded by a vast ocean, the Permian Ocean in this case. Water from that ocean made its way inland into southeastern New Mexico and West Texas and filled this area with water. Now, the environment at that time was hot and humid as well, and these conditions created the perfect scenario for a marine fossilized reef defined by the organisms I mentioned previously. As this was happening, in essence, organics were cementing themselves to the ocean floor, continually building their way up to the tippy top of sea level. Now, these organics would die, but their skeletal structures remained a great binding agent for other organisms to continually build up. This builds and builds and builds for millions of years. The sediment is then battered by wave action, eroding it down to the deeper areas of this inland sea. And then eventually, as geologic processes take place, as the continents start to break apart, as the sea starts to recede, for example, you start to have new sediment being carried by wind and water burying that ancient marine reef. Later on, uplift occurring around 75 to 35 million years ago during an event called the Laramide orogeny starts to slowly stress up some of the land here at Guadalupe Mountains National Park. But it's not until more recently, around 32 to 8 million years ago, due to heat deep underneath the ground from the mantle of the Earth, actually lifting up the mountains higher on the rises and falls into the depressions or the basin.